So I'm going to stay on that subject and probe you a little bit more. And that subject is China. The reality is we want to be Atmanirbhar. We want this investment to come. It's come, as we've seen. The investment over the last 10 years is what we've had in 2021 in EVs. But every investment you make here is actually facilitating China today, because nothing is made in India, right? So all the cells, lithium cells, are coming from China. Up until 2024, at least, when the first gigafactories will come to India, 3 are set to be started in Gujarat, where we'll start making lithium cells, and then those cells will be packed by many different people. But till then, everything is imported from China. There is no electric motor infrastructure in India, component infrastructure in India. So everything is in fact coming from China. So we are facilitating China while we're trying to be independent of them.
Yeah.
How do we change this?
That's an excellent point, really. And I think you might have some perspective to share as well, because you do, work with a lot of export markets. And I mean, it's an interesting way to put it, because the investment, like you said, is ultimately going back to China. And, in one of the initial conversations we had, you were talking about how we're, on the one hand, talking about reducing, our dependence on oil imports, but then we're creating this another kind of dependence, so one at the cost of the other. So how do we change that? Again, it has to, be worked out into a more holistic solution. You have to, of course, localize, but again, are there enough volumes? Do we have the technological expertise? We're in a rush to just put product out. We want to do it in the, shortest frame of time. We want to do it at the lowest possible cost. We're all still learning. Manufacturers at least the legacy manufacturers are in this sort of a wait and watch phase right now. The upstarts, there's like a flurry of activity there. So one wonders, who's going to capture this market ultimately, because, it's possible that this demand may be created, from the Chinese imports that we are getting into the country. And perhaps eventually what will happen is once there is, this kind of organic demand, that's maybe when the legacy players will come in and capture that market and then own it. Maybe that's one scenario that can unfold. But to your mind, what's the sort of mindset shift also that needs to happen? Because that's what we were talking about. There's a certain way and there's a certain set of things, that a manufacturer here would prioritize vis-a-vis, how the ecosystems developed in other parts of the world.
Good question. Thank you for asking it back. I'll answer it in 3 parts, Alisha, because it's an interesting subject. And the first one is, in fact, one of the guests on our show a couple of months back, who was the CEO of Radian Batteries, sodium-ion, James Quinn, he said something brilliantly. He said, when the United States decided they want to go to the moon, it was in 1962 that President Kennedy came out and said, we'll do it. Within this decade, we'll do it. And they did not have any idea how they'll do it, but everyone got behind that mission, that vision, that objective, that we must do it. Today, you think they were mad because they went up in a tin can with less computing capability than your phone, and everything was done in Houston, and they came back alive, thank God, for the most. What we need here is that kind of mission that's set right from the top, whether it's the Prime Minister, and Minister Gadkari did try, but where the nation gets behind it for a nationalistic reason that says, we are going to do this. We are going to be the best in the world in a particular segment of the automotive industry, whether it's two-wheelers or rickshaws or cars or buses. And that's where the world will come to for electric vehicles in that segment. And then, therefore, what do we need to do? And therefore, my investment will be channeled in that direction. And it's not just to deleverage from China. It's to say, I will be the best way. Even China will be forced to buy from me because I will be better than they are in that industry. That kind of aggressive, bold, ballsy vision, right? The second element that I think needs to be addressed on this is our perspective as a nation. And that comes right down to education policy through to government policy. And that is, as you said, when you're buying something, if it's 5,000 rupees cheaper, I will go and buy that because my subsistence is impacted by that 5,000 rupees. However, that 5,000 rupees is false economy quite often, because in the end, your total cost of ownership might be impacted, or the life of your equipment might be impacted. And I think we need a mindset change that says, following on from that vision and objective to be the best, to reward Indian. We do not reward Indian.